All right, Jada. Obviously, New Year's is coming up. I'm just wondering, have you had a chance to reflect all on this past 6 months or so, this decision to come to Texas Tech, kind of a place that hasn't had a lot of success, your final year, and you chose to kind of believe in the program and believe in yourself, and now you're a part of the team that helps them get ranked for the first time since 2012?
Yeah, I actually reflect on this quite often, but I didn't think so much about the history of the program. I was thinking about the future, and that's something a lot that Coach Gerlich talked to me about when I got here. Hey, we might have not had the best history as of recently, but we're going to be something next year, and I want you to be a part of it. So having a coach that thinks forward like that, I mean, why would I not come here, And then I know what I can do. I know what I can produce, and she took the time to be patient with me and let me kind of figure things out. So, I mean, match made in heaven, seriously. So, yeah.
I love that. How do y'all go about enjoying that, the fact that y'all have accomplished some things, but I know y'all have big goals, and kind of staying focused and doing the work now that y'all have a target on your back?
Yeah, I think we just have amazing individuals. We're amazing basketball players, but we're even more amazing people. So even just in life, I don't think any of us get complacent. I know we're all very organized. We're all forward thinking, but we also know, hey, whatever we're finna face is finna be hard, but we have each other. So, it pretty much makes everything easier.
And you talked about, that maturity, all y'all have that. Going back to the Baylor game, since we haven't talked to you since then, it felt like you were a pretty good steadying force for them in the first half in a big moment on a big stage. You had 8 points, 4 in each quarter of the first and second quarter. What do you do preparation-wise to go into games so those moments don't get too big for you?
I think that I just think about my teammates all the time. It feels the same as practice for me, to be honest with you. Obviously there's a lot of people watching and on TV and in the gym, but at the end of the day, I do it for my team, I do it for my coaches, I do it for myself, my family. So I think remembering those things and those big moments make it not feel so big.
And then moving into UCF, I guess what have you seen on film from them? And then specifically, they're a team that prides themselves on toughness. I know y'all do as well, you specifically. How important is it to you personally and for this team to kind of set that tone early in this game?
Yeah, it's important to set the tone in this game and just for the rest of the season. The goal is always to go 1-0 for sure. And I just think that UCLA is a really good team. We're all going to get better progressively going through conference season. So to start off on a high is always what makes you end better. So, yeah.
Go, girl.
So what has Coach Gerlich done to improve your play and to make you a better player?
I just think she helps me a lot with my scoring options, to be honest. Even little things like in the zone, yesterday we were working on a zone because we think UCF is going to zone us, to be honest. And she's just helping me with my looks, making sure that I look for myself. I haven't showed a lot of my shooting form, but I got it, y'all. I promise I got it. And she reminds me of that every day, so I appreciate her for that, for sure.
What's the one thing that we haven't seen yet from the Lady Raiders that you still think that you have another gear to get to?
Oh, God. Honestly, there's so many different ways I can answer that. I think our defense is still very far from where we want to be, but I think, conference season, the end of it, we're going to be amazing in defense. We're good now, but we're going to be amazing. Just little details here and there. Obviously, hitting more shots, we're getting in the gym, we're doing stuff like that, so that'll get better as well.
You talked about the future. What's it mean for you to be at the foundation of the new future for the Lady Raiders?
Yeah, you always want to be at the foundation so that you could say you started things off. So I want to come back somewhere that I'm proud of, and I think we're all doing that and we're all making that.
Jada, what's your confidence level right now compared to the start of the season?
I think I'm really confident. I know I can play in the big leagues. I've been doing it for a while, but I was a little scared moving into Big 12 play just with the change of style and the change of play, but knowing that I can still be really effective here is awesome.
So against UCF, offensive rebound is going to be a huge initiative. You lead the team in offensive rebounds. What makes you a good offensive rebounder?
I mean, it's really my teammates, to be honest with you. Like, I know where they're finna shoot the shot from, and I know exactly when they're gonna shoot it. So it makes it really easy to offensive rebound.
How did you develop your skills at catching the ball and going straight up with it, and your ability to just have good hands?
So when I was little, actually, my dad used to make me sit across from him on the couch in the living room, and we used to throw tennis balls. And he would make sure, like, he threw it at my feet. He would try to throw it on my head, but he'd be like, you can't stand up. You can't move, just get the ball. Anytime you touch it, you have to get it. If you touch it, you have to get it. So just having that mindset since I've been a kid, so.
Jada, y'all are 1-0 in Big 12 play, and that one was really a dogfight. Just talk about how key these last 10 days of practice have been, especially headed into the gauntlet that is the Big 12 play.
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing since July, so being able to have a break is awesome just mentally, and kind of hitting that second gear and resetting and making sure that we can go 1-0 again, and every game is 1-0. It's not, oh, okay, well, we're 2-0 now, we have a next game. Like, no, like, we need to win the next game and focus on that.
You talked about Coach Gerlich talking about the future here. What else kind of stood out to you when you were deciding to come play here?
I mean, obviously the facilities, and we actually talked a lot about football when I first came here and how they're trying to build an empire for football, and I think we're all seeing that that's a thing too, and she's obviously trying to do the same thing, and we're trying to stand behind her as best as we can. But just making sure that she told me that we'll have people next to you, and you'll be next to those people. So do everything that you can to make sure that we're good, and we'll be good. So, yeah.
And then you also talked about differences between SEC play, Big 12 play. What are those differences that you see?
Well, I think we're a lot more physical in the SEC. So my first few games, I had a lot of foul trouble. I'll be very honest. But I think also, like, the looks are different. Like, even just guarding post players, we have a lot more post players here that can shoot. And I find myself sometimes on a 4-player, which I never really found myself in the SEC, and just with how we play defense here. So just little stuff like that, just expanding my game. So I actually like it, but yeah.
And then when it's this time around the holidays, there's kind of big breaks between games. How do you make sure you're focused and you're not taking your foot off the gas?
Well, obviously our coaches help us a lot with that every single day. But I think, again, that goes back to our team maturity. Like, every time we have a break, we're not like, oh, I'm going to go on vacation. Like, we're always like, okay, let's take this time, recover. I'll see you guys on Monday or the next day or whatever. So, yeah.
Anything else for Jada? Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know why y'all are whispering.
All right, Coach, I don't know if you care about this stuff at all, but does it matter at all that you're ranked 21, that was your number, it's alumni weekend and all those things? Does that hit home for you at all?
I'm all about numerology. Like, y'all know I'm a Swiftie, so I'm about numerology. But no, it really does not matter to me that we're ranked at number 21 necessarily. I mean, it has a nice ring to it, that's for sure. But it's really more of just our kids getting that recognition and for our fan base to be able to be, proud of us getting back in the top 25. But I think the challenge is not just getting in it, but staying in it. And that's really where I think that my focus is.
She talked about the coaches are helping them stay focused as well as their maturity. How are you helping them enjoy the moment, but also like, hey, y'all have a target on your back now?
Yeah. So first, I think our break was probably the perfect timing of our break because obviously coming off of a win against Baylor, getting in the top 25, we were able to actually enjoy it. Whereas a lot of times in this business, something positive like that happens, and 2 days later, you're right back in the grind, and you could lose it just as easily as you got it. So I think the break was a really good timing for us because we've been going for so long, since July, that our kids were able to enjoy their families, enjoy their break, get some rest, and feel good about what they've done. And they do need to feel good about what they've done because it's been a long time coming and they've worked extremely hard for it. But as soon as they stepped back on campus, we immediately started talking about you cannot be complacent. We cannot be satisfied. Now we have a target on our back. Now we have to pay attention to even more details and make sure that our focus is on the next game. And that's really what it's about. It's about UCF. That's what our focus is about. It's not about staying in the top 25. It's not about being 2-0 in conference. It's about being 1-0 and beating Central Florida because, did I just say Central Florida? I might, right? Okay, so anyway, UCF, right? UCF. It's and so it's really important that our kids just understand that they can't rest on their laurels. It's interesting because we had Weston talk to them this morning about he's our sports psychologist in the department, and he talked to them today about not saying the word should. And it's like we can't say, well, we should be in the tournament because we're ranked in the top 25, or we should win the next game, or we should, because that sounds like you're entitled and that you're expecting that. And instead it's got to be, we will, because we're going to work for it. Not just, we can't rely on other people to do things for us. So my point to them is if you really focus on UCF and you really concentrate on getting that win, those other things are going to take care of itself. Right? So that's where we have to continue to be laser focused is the next game. Who's our next opponent and what's our next challenge?
Speaking of UCF, they obviously have one of the top scorers in the conference in Harmon. I don't remember her number, but their leading scorer.
42, and she's a point guard.
Yeah,
so
wild.
Weird.
It's wild. But I guess when you're preparing for a player like that, a 3-level scorer, do y'all prepare specifically for her or tell your players specific things about her? Or is it more like she's an archetype of this type of player that y'all have played before?
Our focus is definitely on their strengths, and we talk a lot about personnel. I think our scouts are very personnel driven, and we have to know what she does. And so clearly she's at the top of the scout. We have to have a great focus about her, but we also talk about what she does for others and how does she help her teammates, and how can we make sure that we're not putting so much focus on her that somebody else beats us. So I do think that there are some simulations that we use as far as like this player is a lot like so-and-so that we've played before, and how are we going to contain her? I would say that the scout a lot for UCF was a lot like it was for Baylor, because we were preparing for Talia Scott. And, you know, obviously she's a 3-level scorer. She can really score the basketball, and Harmon does the same thing for her team. So we've got to have a lot of focus on her, but it's got to be compartmentalized, if you will.
And then them as a team, they're a team that, I mean, they're dedicated to getting to the paint. A lot of people talk about it, but that's what they do. That's, I don't say all they do, but they live there, like top 10 in the nation, I think, in points in the paint. How do you prepare for a team when you know that's what they want to do, but also they're really good at getting there?
Yeah, well, obviously points in the paint is an emphasis for us, and we want to keep them out of the paint as much as possible. But it's also, for this game particularly, we can probably guard their actions pretty well, but it's about making sure that they don't get second chance opportunities, because they rebound the basketball really well, and that's probably where they get a majority of their points is from second chance opportunities. So we can't relax when we get a stop until we have the ball securely in our hands, because they are very big, they're very athletic, they pound it inside. We've got to do a great job of keeping the ball out of the paint to begin with, but then when the shot goes up, we got to put a body on somebody and make sure they don't get second chance opportunities.
As 2025 comes to an end and you look toward the wills of 2026, what have you seen in the growth of this team from first practice to today?
I think that our offensive flow is a lot better. I think that we share the ball a lot better, and we're not turning it over as much. And I think that's because we've become more used to playing with one another, and we understand the offense better. We understand the pace better. I think we can see very clearly and very quickly when our pace isn't good, and we can obviously make adjustments that we need to make with our team to be able to get that flow back. I think our defense has gotten increasingly better every game that we've played, and our rebounding has as well. And I think the rebounding piece was a huge part of what we were very concerned about to start the year off. And even the Baylor game was a great example of the first quarter. We didn't do a great job on the boards, but we improved significantly throughout the game, and that's something that we are going to have to continue to do because it could be an Achilles heel for us. But I just think that our kids' togetherness has really grown. I think their focus has really grown, and I think they're becoming a really good basketball team on both sides of the ball.
Jada talked about the growth that has come with the defensive side, and you see that there's still more defensive growth to happen. What makes that so much easier as this season goes on?
I'm not sure it makes it easier, but I think just, again, their ability to have so many reps under their belt and for their understanding as a whole of what our defensive philosophy is and even our terminology and our different actions that we have defensively. We've been able to add a few defenses over the break, which I think is going to be helpful to be able to switch things up for people, and then also to be able to match different lineups and different styles of basketball. And I think that's what is going to make our defensive production, or whatever you want to call it, better throughout conference, is that we're going to be able to adjust to different styles of play, because we're going to see different styles of play, and we're going to see a lot better teams as well in conference play, and some bigger challenges that we're going to have to make sure that our defense is ready for.
Speaking of challenges, going through the non-conference is one thing, but tackling Baylor was another thing. How did the non-conference and Baylor prepare you for the Big 12?
Yeah, I think we did a really nice job of scheduling, of just putting our kids in situations that were going to prepare us for conference play. For instance, and I've talked about it a lot before, but going to New Mexico and playing a real road game at a place that wins a lot in New Mexico. I thought that was big for us. Us traveling all the way to Washington State for a single game. That happens in conference play. And sometimes people don't really understand what the travel can do to a team's, psyche, and just even the flow. You're out there. I mean, I'm not sure. I think we had one fan in the stands at Washington State. So that's a thing, right? Like playing in front of definitely a home crowd that you're not prepared for. So I think those two situations were really big for us. I think the people that we played, bringing in Mississippi State, bringing in Arkansas, bringing in SMU to our home floor, I think was big for us to play 3 consecutive Power 4 games. I think was huge. Different styles of play. Mississippi State is really defensive oriented. North Texas is really defensive oriented and real physical. I think those games helped us. And then obviously winning on the road at Baylor just gives us confidence that we can do that when we go to away games in the Big 12. I think that's huge for our mental, the mental game of it for our kids to know that they can have confidence in going on the road and winning big.
Why do you believe this team has more than one gear left in them?
I think because we've seen it every day in practice. I think you can see some sparks and just some instances where, man, when we make that connection, it's going to be next level. I know we haven't shot the ball well. I've said that multiple times. We're still waiting for us to shoot the ball better. And I know that we will because we've seen it. We've seen it in scrimmages. We've seen it in previous games. We've seen it in practice. And our kids, I love that our kids are defending well enough to win when offense isn't great. I think that's a huge attribute to our scheme, right? And to our confidence in our team to be able to compete no matter what the game looks like. And I just really love our unity. It just gives you a different feel. Like, I don't know that I've ever enjoyed coming to work so much and going to practice and being around our kids. Like, our kids are really fun to be around. Like, you don't walk in and they stop talking, or stop laughing or stop doing whatever because coach walked in. Like, you jump right in with it. And so I just think that maturity, that camaraderie, the love that we have for one another, and they all really truly believe in what we're doing and that we can do some really special things. And it's just an exciting feeling and exciting time to be in the Lady Raider locker room right now.
Is this what you dreamed of when you got here, that you would discover the culture in this team right now that you had back, the imaginations that you had back then?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm a big dreamer, and I've been dreaming about this opportunity in this moment. Not since I took the job, probably since I played here and decided to coach. And you know, we've brought in other teams, we brought in other players that have laid the foundation for us, that actually went through some fire for us to be able to get this type of team. And I think that's really goes unnoticed, because this team that we have is really special, but we don't get these types of players if players before them didn't come in and set the tone and set the standards and actually go through some really tough times for us. And because of that, this team is reaping those rewards, but this team also really sees the vision, and they believe in the coaching staff, and they believe in what we're selling, and they believe in Red Raider Nation. Like that's a key selling point for us. So I'm having a great time. I love this job. I love this university. You guys know that. I love this program, and I love this team so much because I think they love it as much as I do, and that's really important to me.
Coach, what have you seen from Jada as the season has progressed?
You know, y'all asked her if what's playing into her confidence, or does she feel more confident? And she is 100% more confident than she was when she first got here. And I think a lot of that is, you know, when I talk about buy-in a lot, and when I say kids are bought in, like, they're not bought in the day they walk on campus. Like, it takes a while. They got to go through some practices. They got to go through some games. There are some early games that she didn't play much in, and I know she was probably questioning, like, did I make the right decision? Is there a spot for me? Is this style? Can I play the style of basketball that she wants me to play? And I think that the more that we played, and the more that I grew confident in what she could do. Because to be honest, I'm not sure that we thought she could defend on the perimeter as well as she defends. She's a super smart basketball player. And we knew that, but I don't think we knew to the extent of how smart she was. And her ability to pass the basketball, her patience on the block. I know I heard you ask her, you know, what have I done for her to improve her game? I'm not sure I've done anything except put her in situations to be successful, because she is so confident with the basketball in her hands, and it's really a unique trait to be patient on the block with the ball in your hands, with a lot of, probably 5 other sets of hands reaching at you, right? And she really does a good job of that. She doesn't take bad shots. She leads people into good situations. Against Baylor, we talked about her having the ball in a critical possession, and you can see her nod at Snudda on the perimeter to tell her to go back door. And she took one step, gave her a nice pass. Snudda gets to the rim and gets fouled and gets two free throws. And that was all because of Jada's IQ and her ability to pass the basketball. She has a unique and canny way of rebounding the basketball. She uses her body really well. She has great hands. And I'm just super proud of how she's just trusted us to continue to build her up, and even coming off the bench, you know, I mean, she probably has done some things well enough to start, but she likes the chemistry that we have, the fluid that we have, the rotation that we have. Like, she understands the rotation, she understands her role, and I like the fact that we probably have 7 kids that could start. Maybe 8 kids that could start, and they don't care about that. They just want to win, and they want to do whatever it is that we ask them to do. So really proud of how she's grown.
And now you're getting to a point where you've got basically 30 minutes with your 2 bigs, with Sarah and with Jada too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're getting really good minutes out of them. We're able to play Snudda and Jalen at the same time if we need to go smaller, but we've gotten really good minutes out of Sarah and Jada, and they just complement each other because they're so different, right? They give different things, and I love how great Sarah played late in the Baylor game. She was really, really good in the fourth quarter, but yet Jada's production in quarters 1 through 3 were just as huge. So it's really a nice little rotation that we have.
The focus now is UCF, but
Was there at all a big reaction finding out that you guys were ranked for the first time? Since
No doubt.
2012?
We absolutely. I've sent it in the group chat the next day and told them we had already parted ways. Lots of the kids left from Baylor to go home for Christmas, and so when that came out, I put it in the group chat and said Merry Christmas to the Lady Raiders and told them how proud I was of them, and so we didn't really have a moment together because we weren't together, but you know, social media, text messaging, all that stuff, we certainly celebrated. But the kids are excited, and I got some really great. This is how you know that you've got the right kids in the locker room and that they're in it for the right reasons. Is I got a couple of texts from individuals on the team, just not saying that they were excited for themselves, but that they were excited for me. And that'll get me emotional real quick because it's just they recognize how passionate I am about it and how much I believe that this program can be in the top 25 and that it deserves to be there and it should be there. And they're excited for what they're doing, but for our coaching staff too. And so I think that just speaks volumes to the kind of kids we have in the locker room.
And then can you talk a little bit about what initially stood out to you about Jada that wanted you to make her a Lady Raider?
Her production, she's so efficient. When we saw video of her, not only was she able to score it, she had great hands in the paint through traffic, but she could move well too. She could get up and down the floor and she could defend. And so those were huge for us. The first time that I talked to her on the phone, I knew what kind of kid she was. She was very mature, very smart. And I believe we were her only visit. So that's big time too, because she knew what she was looking for and she trusted us and we went right for it. And we think we got a huge steal.
Finished non-conference undefeated, then opened up Big 12 play 1-0. And like I asked Jada, you know, I'm sure that took a toll on a lot of your girls. Just how key was that 10-day rest and practice period to get ready for what is the rest of Big 12?
Right. I think it came at the right time. You know, we talked about after finishing non-conference play that we had to like buckle in and like, now here we go. Like you can't be tired. You can't be mentally fatigued. Like you can't be looking forward to Christmas because now that we play a conference game before a Christmas break, it is imperative that we have your undivided attention. And I thought they handled it fantastically. But then we really did need that break. 10 days is a long time, but we were able to give our kids 5 days off, and that's a little bit unheard of this day and age in the Christmas break time of a Division I athlete. But I have learned over the past that like these kids need time with their family. They need time away from the game to reset. They're mature enough to do things that they should do for their body and their mind between those 5 days, that they don't just completely, you know, not do anything where they come back out of shape, things like that. And then when we brought them back on the 26th and the 27th, we had 2-a-days. And so we really tried to just focus on us. We tried to focus on getting them back in shape, if you will, without running them to death. And get their shots back, get their rhythm back. So we had 2 really productive days of 2-a-days. And then we were able to actually take another day off Monday and reset and refocus and really get focused in on UCF and what is that going to do. And we talked extensively today about making sure that like our prep days are really locked in, because now we're going to get in a routine. We're going to be, you know, you're going to have a day off and you're going to have 2 prep days in a game, 2 prep days in a game, and then another day off. And so routine is good, but we can't get stagnant and we can't have to spend a lot of time in practice getting their attention and focusing on things that or reps that we've been working on, you know, since June. Like they've got to be able to do that themselves. So shooting on their own is super important. You know, getting some skill work in, not necessarily on their own, but in individual workouts is super important. Getting in film sessions is super important so that when we come to practice time, it can be concise and focused on prep and our rhythm, and not having 2-3 hour practices where we're wearing them down. But that takes maturity and that takes a lot of focus on understanding that it's one game at a time.
And then I know you said earlier that you thought that the buy-in from the fans would come really around Big 12 play once they see that this team is what it is. 2 home games coming up, but it's still during that holiday break. Just what's your message to Red Raider Nation to come out and support the Lady Raiders?
Yeah, there's so many things going on right now, so we get it. And it's New Year's Eve, but we do have 2 home games this week. It's the first time in over a decade that Lady Raider Nation is going to be able to support and cheer for a top 25 ranked team. We have a big target on our back now, and so we need to be able to win at home, and we need their help to help us win at home, because now that we have that target, everybody's going to give us their best shot. So we need every advantage that we can have, and home court advantage in the Big 12 is big time, and nobody has a better home court than Red Raider Nation. You know, whether that's football, whether that's basketball, men's basketball, women's basketball, softball, baseball, like, we have the best fans and we have the best atmosphere, but we definitely need them to show up. I just don't want them to think, oh, they'll have it. Oh yeah, we have a great crowd. Somebody else will do it because it's New Year's Eve, right? Come help us at 6 o'clock and then go party your tail off, right? But I'm just giving everybody a word of warning. That 11 a.m. tip for kickoff for the football game is going to come really early. So nobody needs to be out celebrating too loud and too hard on New Year's Eve, right? Come early at 6, get us through that win, celebrate then, maybe bring in the new year at midnight, and then get a good nap in because our guys are going to need us at 11 a.m.
Not to ruin a great ending to the press conference, but a follow-up on Jada. We asked her kind of about like why she chose Texas Tech and the belief and what that meant to her to see it happening, to believe in y'all and to believe in herself. And you mentioned it was her only visit and what you told her. What was your pitch to get a player of her caliber to commit to Texas Tech and believe in what it could be?
Well, number one, it was that we need a big. Like, obviously, Sarah was returning, but, like, we have to have an inside presence. So there's no doubt that she was going to get minutes, that she was going to be a focal point. And I think that's when people transfer, that's one of the reasons they transfer is they want a bigger role, usually. They want a bigger role. And so we definitely sold her on that we need her to have a big role. And she's obviously fulfilling that for us. But I think also we really played on how we ended the season and how close we were, right? And to taking that step. And I really talked to her about being one of the ones that comes in and helps us take that step because that's a legacy. And that's something that you can take a lot of pride in for the future, right? I love that she said, I can't wait to come back and support, and to support a winning team. And that's what we want them to say is we want them to come back. And we want them to be Red Raiders for life, if you will. And we want them to know that like this is their second home and it's their home for the rest of their life. So come in here and leave a great legacy and then come back and be celebrated every time you walk in the USA. All right. Thank you, guys.